There it is. Ryan, SFA drummer, and you know I got love for SFA drummer, and I got love for Ryan Hensley. I go on this podcast a lot. Said his source told me that Draymond punched him because Jordan Poole wasn't listening to Steve Kerr and being disrespectful. Well, yeah, I heard differently.
Okay.
Heard differently. I'm not saying that Ryan's wrong or whatnot or disrespect to Steve Kerr. Just saying I was told differently. And I told you the Wednesday of, before the video came out.
You told me, yeah.
I told you exactly what was going down. What had happened when everybody had already assumed that Jordan Poole was being disrespectful.
Can we come to this conclusion? They can't coexist next year. Like, something's got to change, right? Like, it does feel like a him or me situation. In some organizations, in workplace scenarios, they just remove both employees from the job site. Now, I know this is much different because it's pro sports. There's a salary cap. There's ramifications. You can't just lose someone for nothing. I understand all that. I just don't see how the two of them can come back given all these dynamics and everything that's going on. I don't see it. If you think they're going to be quiet all summer, and they're just going to roll it back in September, October, come together, and everyone's going to be like, let's go. Time heals all wounds. I have a hard time believing that.
I'm going to play something from Anthony Slater yesterday on whether or not Draymond and Jordan Poole can coexist and be in the same locker room again. But let's just say Ryan Hensley, and I'm not saying he's wrong, whatever. He has his sources. I have my sources. I'm going to trust my source on what happened. But let's just say if Jordan Poole was disrespecting Steve Kerr, who is Draymond Green to go over and police him? When Draymond Green disrespects Kerr, how many times has Draymond Green berated Steve Kerr in the public eye? We don't even know what's happened behind the scenes, but in the public eye. I mean, heck, 2016, they had to call security in the locker room because Draymond Green and Steve Kerr is about to go at it.
I have a hard time trying to evaluate their relationship from afar. I on some level, like I respect the hell out of Steve Kerr for being able to turn the other way at times. Right. But on another level, I look at him and I go, dude, you let him walk all over this organization at times. So, like, I see it both ways. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I have a really hard time making a feel for it.
But let's say Jordan Poole is disrespecting Steve Kerr and Draymond Green decided to police Jordan Poole for that. Draymond Green sat down with Kevin Durant. The guy who basically was, a lot of people blame Draymond Green for Kevin Durant's departure, for what out of the culture. But Draymond Green sat there and said it was Bob Myers and Steve Kerr's fault on how they threw gasoline on the situation with Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. Draymond Green basically threw Steve Kerr and Bob Myers under the bus, and you joked with Bob Myers about that at Chase Center, and Bob was not laughing about it. He was obviously pissed off about it.
I know. It was a bad move by me.
No, but Bob Myers was really like, yeah, I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I wasn't feeling that. So Draymond Green could go ahead and disrespect the president of basketball operations and head coach, because didn't that feel like disrespect to you?
Oh, yeah. But don't you also believe that it's not the main reason, in part, because there's always 50 million things that you're weighing. Don't you think this whole Draymond, Poole, who stays, who goes, don't you think that's some element of Bob Myers not knowing whether he wants to sign that contract or not?
Maybe.
It's not in there a little?
I don't know.
It's one of the ingredients in the gumbo?
I don't know.
It's got to be.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's got to be.
The whole thing, the fact that it was admitted yesterday, it just I felt some type of way about that, Shasky. That punch really derailed what could have been a back-to-back championship season. We could have been talking about the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals being up 1-0 on the Denver Nuggets. Because I'm not betting against the Warriors against anybody. And that's why I didn't bet against them against the LA Lakers. And they were right there. But that little bit of camaraderie, at the end of the day, what did we say about that series? Boy, the Lakers felt like the more connected team.
Here's another element of this. Like, because I do believe it feels like either or. Like, as in, either one of them needs to go or both of them need to go. If you had to choose between the two and you're building this thing out and you're looking at it from a business standpoint, one guy's on the back end of his career, the other guy's at the ascension of his career. Does that play a factor in any, like, it doesn't feel like in anything. If this were football and in baseball, I think most people would be like, I mean, come on, Dre's got maybe a couple of years left. This guy over here, now, even though he might be flawed and he has a lot of things he needs to work on, he's 23. Does that play into anybody's thinking at all?
It plays in the mind. Let's go. We got a couple calls here that have differing opinions.
I would love to hear all opinions.
Rich and Hayward. believes the Warriors are going nowhere without Draymond Green. What's up, Rich? What's happening?
Okay. I don't like Draymond, but I got to say they aren't a championship team without him, because look at AD put in 40 yesterday. I mean, and they had their whole team and everything, and LeBron almost had triple-double. And, you can't bust up our team. And I do think Poole should be back too. But it's going to be, it's just, I think that, there's still a championship thing. It's just hard to repeat. And, but he shouldn't have punched the man, but he's a Hall of Famer. And the other guy may never be. Being 23 is no excuse. And sitting like he has, that's like sitting half your career. They ain't going to play for 40 years. So 4 years, he done lost. That's my take.
I'm confused at the end there. I was confused at the end.
But he said you can't win without
Is Draymond still does he still have Hall of Fame play?
I don't know. That's questionable. If we could question Klay Thompson, who averaged over 20 points a game, I think we could question Draymond Green.
Who was better this year? Klay or Dre?
I thought Klay had a really. I think Draymond had a really
year.
No, but I thought Draymond had a really good year.
He did.
I think Draymond had. I think they were right there.
Okay.
There's no wide margin here. If you can make the argument for both.
Did Jordan Poole have a better year than those other two?
No, I don't think so.
I agree with that. And I think a lot of how we're critiquing Jordan Poole is through that lens of having a really rough year. Even though you look at the numbers and they're actually a lot better than what we remember the season to look like.
The 3-point shot was bad. His shot selection wasn't the greatest.
Oh, no,
either.
his feel for the game
wasn't
bad.
great either.
Yeah, it was bad.
Once we get on Klay Thompson, his feel wasn't good either. David Alamo. Dave, what's happening? You're on the roast.
What's up, fellas? So I'm just sitting here thinking about what you guys are saying. You got the Kerr situation with Draymond. You got the Durant situation with Draymond. Now you got the Poole situation with Draymond. I understand that he's part of the big three that got us here, but he's not the same man. And why are we thinking about paying a man $25 million that's doing all these things? How many times does somebody have to poison somebody before we say, you know what, I can't be around you no more?
Right.
I understand the loyalty, but this is a business. At what point does loyalty go out the door? I'm a fan. I want us to keep winning. I think we can retool with Draymond and Poole gone and still keep Curry and Wiggs and go to town next year. That's all I got. I'm just wondering why.
I agree with you. I would be open. I'm open to anything at this point. I am open to both of them moving on.
Yeah,
I'm open to that.
I mean, at some point you have to tinker. Championship teams tinker. The Kansas City Chiefs, you brought up the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They traded away Tyreek Hill.
It was a massive move.
They advanced to 2 Super Bowls with Tyreek Hill in 3 straight AFC championships. Hell, 4 straight AFC championships with Tyreek Hill. They moved off from him. And going into that Philly Super Bowl, I'm thinking, man, how the hell are they going to win with that core? Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, who really fears Juju at this point? Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And they won a Super Bowl.
I know.
They retinkered their roster. They went defense. They went all rookie secondary, right? Got a couple pass rushers. They moved on, and they pivoted this year. They're still going to be Super Bowl favorites. Championship teams retool and retinker. That's what they do.
Yes.
The Spurs were different. All 5 championships. Different way of winning.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The Lakers, Kobe and Shaq was different with Kobe and
all the Warrior championships.
All the Warrior championships are different.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can retinker. You have to make hard decisions. You have to move on at some point. It feels like this year at the crossroads with all the finances, with the way the NBA is being played right now.
I think that's a big part of this.
The finances.
You can't overlook that.
I think Joe Lacob wants to lock into himself saying, if I bring everybody back, that's costing me $500 million. And I have 2 guys admitting that, hey, they didn't get along. And they couldn't figure it out during the season. Can I trust the fact that they're going to figure it out going into next season?
Oh, that's a leap of faith. And the other thing is that, they went on a winning streak during the regular season without Draymond Green.
Right.
They played one of their best team basketball games in the playoffs without Draymond Green. We saw a version of Kevon Looney that I don't think we recognized we could have.
Right.
We know that there's obviously some redundancy in terms of Kuminga and Draymond Green. There's the financial component as well.
We haven't even gotten to Kuminga, what Kerr had to say about Kuminga yesterday.
Well, I want to get into that at some point because I do believe that in part, it's not just Draymond. You keep Draymond, you might as well. Not only are you losing probably Jordan Poole, you're also losing Kuminga.
Right. Yeah. You may have lost Kuminga. You already lost James Wiseman. And I'm not saying Wise is going to be in Hall of Famer. Maybe it was the right move to move off of him. Maybe he didn't fit. There was a fit problem. I admit that. But you did kind of lose Wiseman, too, because of all this. All of this led to everything that happened this season that transpired, which resulted in a second-round exit. And then it's...
Well, what if they would have lost? This is the other thing.
What if they lost to the Kings?
Well, let's just say he gets suspended for that game, and they end up losing that series.
Yep.
You don't think people would lose their minds? Like, just because the Warriors won it and Steph played unbelievable in Game 7, let's say they lose Game 7. You don't think we're thinking about, this guy really was like losing his mind and on the brink of teetering off the edge, and in the biggest game of the year, stepped on a dude's chest, got thrown out, and then was suspended for another game after getting suspended during the regular season when we couldn't get him suspended during the regular season because he got too many technicals?
No doubt.
Again?
I'm with you.
Again?
Yep. Comcast Business Text Line 559. Mahomes and Steph. That's why the Chiefs, they have Mahomes. And that's why if the Golden State Warriors, it's almost a disrespect to Stephen Curry to say, hey, if one of the ancillary pieces moves on in Draymond Green, and I'm not even saying I hate Draymond Green. This is all, look, Draymond Green is a Hall of Fame player. Shasky and I can guarantee you this. We love Draymond Green, the player, and what he's done for this organization. But you can't. I don't like the fact that after the season, 3 days after the season, he's on with Stephen A. Smith and admits that, you know what? It took me till February to get my voice back. Now we heard from Shams Charania that it was early January. Yesterday it was Stephen A. Smith. It was February. We're 50 games in. Habits are already built in. And Bonte, do you really want to have Draymond Green guarding Steph in a different jersey? Again, that's just disrespectful to Steph.
I mean,
Steph's a top 10 Hall of Fame player.
Pick any player of all time. AD was just guarded by Draymond and had one of the greatest series we've ever seen.
There you go. Let's go to the calls, Shaz, because we have Dalton Johnson coming up. Petaluma's Finest, Dalton Johnson at 8 o'clock. Jason Dumas live in studio at 9:20. Back half of the show, packed. Great guest, phone calls. So I want to go to the lines.
When you talk to a non-Warrior fan, it's funny. When Warrior fans were jaded because of the winning. When you talk to a non-Warrior fan, you know what they say? Draymond cost you a championship in 2016. Draymond cost you Kevin Durant. Draymond is unreliable come certain playoff moments because he loses his temper.
Yep.
All right? And he doesn't do anything offensively. And they say all of his assists because he has Steph Curry.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't me. I'm saying what a non-Warrior fan opinion is of someone like Draymond.
I did 2 national hits yesterday on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And I've done hits all season long. And every time I've done a hit when it pertains to the Golden State Warriors, one of the questions is always, how much has the punch affected the season? It looks like you guys can move off of Dray. That's from an outside perspective. We're in the Bay Area bubble, and we're jaded.
Well, we make excuses for him.
And I get the loyalty because we had the same blind loyalty to the Giants.
Of course.
Or the same blind loyalty to the Niners.
Barry Bonds. He's our guy. And that's the way Draymond has been for a long time.
Way too long.
Yes.
It's now the time. It's been 11 years. 4 championships. Can you bring this core back and win the Super Bowl? I mean, win an NBA championship? I don't know, man.